Hello everyone, this is me, Dusty Circuit here, to bring you another episode of Kerbal Space Program. And since the last video, I've actually added a few new mods. Two Planet Pack mods, one visual mod, and then I think two part-related mods. Well, firstly, the visual mod, is because we're on Kerbin right now, which is called SPVE, or Space Potato Volumetric Enhancements, which is a mod that was made by Space Potato, who is one of the mod makers who is working with Star Crusher to make the Kerbal Star Systems 2 Planet Pack mod. And since they've been working on a lot of the volumetric enhancements for Kerbal Star Systems 2, they've also decided to branch out and work on more volumetric enhancements for the stock system, which and maybe even Outer Planets mod in the future, but I guess we'll see. But it currently is only for the stock system, and it adds more cloud variations on Kerbin, including hurricanes and tornadoes, as well as like 3D auroras, like volumetric auroras, which is pretty awesome. And and also planets with ring systems around planets have particles. And I think there's even some enhancements for Duna as well. And as for the Planet Pack mods, I've added one. That's another that adds more, like 4 more star systems, which I think is called Stellar Systems. And then another that adds on 1 star system, but more, I think more might even be in the works for it, called, I think it's called Starpunk Cluster. And Stellar Systems adds, I think, this system, that system, that system, and that system, which is another black hole system in addition to the Kerr system from Kerbal Star Systems 2. And that's about it for new star systems, though I feel like from now on I'm going to be a little more, I don't think I'm going to be necessarily adding new star systems to my game, new planet packs to my game willy-nilly. I'm rather fortunate, as far as what my system can handle, as far as how many mods I can run. Especially with the price of computer hardware, especially RAM right now. And this instance I have of Kerbal Space Program fully loaded is using about 21 gigs of RAM according to Task Manager, but when I first load it up, it seems to use as much as 35 gigs, but then it settles down to like 21. It's just kind of weird. But as it is, this actually still runs quite well, though. Like, I average, like, on Kerbin, like, like, close to Kerbin and in Kerbin's atmosphere, around 30-ish FPS. But that number drops if I use larger ships. And in space, I'd say around 50 FPS, or maybe close to 60. But a lot of other players, a lot of other KSP players can hardly manage 10 FPS with these visual mods. So I'm pretty fortunate. I'm still able to run these mods and even record and make videos of them to boot. So as far as what today's mission's gonna be, I've been to the Deb system, like all the planets in the Deb system. And while I have probably as many as 15 probably 14 other star systems to choose from, where I'm gonna go next is the Ton system, which is also added by Promised Worlds. Though we're only going to be going to one planet today, and that is Puff. And the reason is Puff has a rather big ocean, or basically a crater that's filled with water. But according to the description, this ocean goes as much as 100 kilometers deep. Which even tops the oceans on that we've been to, that I've been to before, and I think at the end of my previous series on Rokea. Like, even the cracks on Rokea only, I think, went down to 15 kilometers below the surface. Which means this ocean tops Rokea in depth. Just insane to think about. And this is I'm gonna send an ISV out to this planet and dive a submarine to the bottom of that ocean. And in a moment, I'm gonna show what vehicle we're gonna use to do that. So this is the spacecraft that I've come up with. Though initially, I wanted to use a different main engine than what I ended up going with. Initially, because I have it unlocked now, I really wanted to use this guy, which is an basically the Stirling Systems version of a beam core antimatter engine. But I cannot use it because antimatter in fuel tanks requires science to be able to load in the spacecraft on the launch pad with antimatter in the fuel tanks. And I don't make a habit of keeping science to do that. So, like, I usually, whenever I get so much science, I spend it on unlocking the tech tree. So we don't have even though we have it unlocked, we can't use that, unfortunately. So I am using the next best thing that I have, which is it's called the Icarus engine, which uses fusion pellets and deuterium and liquid deuterium and liquid helium-3 fuel. Which the majority of these fuel tanks are fusion pellets. But the tanks, kind of smaller ones at the top, are deuterium and helium-3. And this whole bottom section is just the fuel, the main engine, and the radiators for the main engine, and all these boosters on the side, which will be used to launch it from Kerbin. And I put that Sterling super heavy shield in the back kind of as a shadow shield, even though it doesn't really serve much of a functional purpose. It's just, I guess, to make it more realistic, like there's an actual shield protecting the crew from the radiation from the engine. And those are batteries. And these are reaction wheels that are from... They're from B9 Aerospace HX, which adds a bunch of these ginormous parts, for building spaceships. And one person on Bogue's the Discord server suggested to use these for reaction wheels for ISVs because they're very powerful. Like this one that I typically use on a lot of my rockets has about 90 torque. And this guy has 1700 torque, which is quite the difference. And then going up the center is just like I think it's these. It's actually these pieces which come from near future construction. And this is a fusion reactor which provides it's the main source of electricity for the spacecraft. And a couple of radiators to keep it cool, though I specifically am using the wraparound radiators because even on the like when I first launched this, the power draw is it just constantly uses up a lot of power, and so even before it gets into space, it runs out of power. So I can't charge up the main engine and also that reactor as well. So what I'm going to do is charge this up and activate it while it's on the launch pad. And then this will provide the power for the spacecraft during ascent. Then once we're in space, we'll light the main engine on the back. And these is more of those giant reaction wheels and some monopropellant tanks, which I've made with more... I think these are from the Sterling tankage mod, as well as and those as well. But these I've enlarged with tweak scale. Although the ones on the bottom. And well, here and up here is where the new part mod I installed comes in. Since I'm gonna be using a submarine on this mission, I heard of this mod called Moist Technologies, which adds parts to make building submarines easier. And there's even another mod that adds like a ballast system. For whatever reason, like it's supposed to add a way to put compressed liquids in every fuel tank in the game, but that doesn't seem to work for me. So instead, I'm using the ballast keel. And this is like, and then this piece here, which is like a, basically I guess we can call it a jet engine, but for water. Though it mostly runs on electric charge. Which has quite a lot of power it uses, so I have a reactor on the sub, as well as some radiators for cooling. And these side boosters. Well, how the sub works is, first this undocks from the mothership, like the sub plus this piece with the rocket engines, and the rocket engines just help get the submarine on a atmospheric entry trajectory, and then the parachutes slow it down on descent, and then it gets to the bottom. It gets to the surface of the water, and then the sub just detaches from this part, and then the sub continues on and dives, and we'll go dive to the bottom of the ocean with it. But since the sub has no method of returning to orbit, I'm also including this, which is a lander that I've designed to land on the surface of the water and be stable. So we'll land near the sub once the sub is surfaced, and then we'll rescue the crew and bring them back onto the mothership. And then appears, these are more parts from the stock-like station parts expansion redux mod, like all these tubes and this intersection. And this is another like antenna that the Kerbal Star Systems 2 mod adds to facilitate like interstellar range communication. Like, so you can still have comnet access even far away star systems. And this piece is added by the deep freeze mod, which allows for cryogenic freezing of your Kerbals for to keep them allow them to rest for these really long interstellar journeys. And then these parts are also from the station parts expansion redux. And this is the biggest. This piece is the biggest of all the laboratories, which are the science laboratories, which is also added by the station parts expansion redux. And this is a retractable gravity ring to also provide comfort for our Kerbals in zero gravity, to provide them like a simulated effect of gravity via the centripetal force of that centrifuge spinning. And then the very top of this is a mirror shield, which is of course added by a mod called Mirror Shields, which is useful for... Most people use this as like a way to add particle shields for ISVs, but one thing about the mirror is that it has a really, like, an insanely high thermal tolerance. Yeah, max temperature of 8,000 Kelvin, which is think like for most heat shields, their max is around like 3,500 Kelvin, which might make this part actually quite useful for missions going really close into a star, which I might try to do in the future. But it's not going to be the focus of this mission. Okay, and here we are with the launch of the spacecraft. Though, but today as you can see, this is not the usual launch pad. And maybe some of you who've watched my previous series might recognize this, but for those who don't, this is a launch pad site that I've created in the old series to on top of the tallest mountain on Kerbin, in order to assist with the launching of really large spaceships that are either not aerodynamic or just to kind of help with launching spacecrafts that would be a lot harder to launch from the normal launch site, which is near sea level on Kerbin, where this is almost 7 kilometers up in the sky. And I figured it might be cool to bring this back, maybe we could use it for future missions involving launching ISVs to space. And this is actually going to be the first time we use the mountaintop launch site since the last series. And I've also decided to add a bit more onto it, and I thought that maybe I'd also add this runway because I had an idea thinking it would be cool, like before I launch my mission from here, to maybe like transport the Kerbals on one of my space planes and then land it here, but landing at high altitudes like this turns out is really difficult. So I've decided I'm not going to do that this video, but maybe once we unlock more of the spaceplane technology, maybe I could make a VTOL spaceplane, and maybe we could use that to assist with landing here. But for now, I guess we're just gonna launch our rocket from here at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Even though we're still pretty high up, I think we're gonna want to throttle back quite a bit because the spacecraft, we have that shield on the front that's gonna make this really unstable flying through the atmosphere. So I think we actually want to be going quite slowly up until I want to say we're most of the way out of the light blue section up there. maybe we can even see a little bit of the volumetric auroras from here, because we're actually pretty close to the North Pole of Kerbin. We can stage. And our apoapsis is already outside the atmosphere, so we can go fully to horizontal. This engine is ready for when we need it. And the game's really lagging, but as we lose parts, that's gonna get better. I think actually we'll point down a little bit, because right now we're only just making our apoapsis higher and higher. What I want to do is actually make an orbit. Okay, we're now officially in orbit. Actually kind of cool, you can also see the rings around Kerbin from here, though that's because I have a mod installed that does that. And I think we'll just go to our apoapsis and circularize. And I guess we'll activate our fusion engine. And I guess we can also deploy our centrifuge. I think we'll just maybe for a moment admire the views of the unique views of the planet that we get from this orbit that we're on. Like that put us more into a polar orbit versus an equatorial orbit that we usually get. Oh wait, I guess we can get start our centrifuge spinning. Now that is awesome right there, though, these views. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What? Didn't mean to do that. Maybe I'll do maybe I'll do a quick IVA tour, but I'll make it quick because it kind of drags out the video, but I do it because in case some of you who are just tuning in want to see like the interior of the spacecraft. Oh, this is going towards the front. Oh, and that's a view and a half. Hey, I can't. For some reason, I have this habit of holding right click and dragging with the mouse to pan around, but I don't have to do that. So I just had to break that habit. And that's the centrifuge. And then that doesn't go anywhere, so we'll go back. Well, I guess we'll go in one of the pods. It's pretty cool that actually you can kind of see the whole spacecraft from here. Whoa, why am I able to phase through that? Oh, this is the cryogenic chamber. Oh, and this is where the two spacecraft, like the submarine and the lander, are attached to the mothership. Oh, and I think here we're actually going into, I think it's the lander. Oh, and this is the command pod of the lander. And we, just a few moments ago, we were we were in there, and now we're back here. But, I guess I'll call that the end of the tour. So from here, we can plot a course directly for the tons system. And well, since journey is going to take, even with this craft, it's still going to take over 10 years to get there. So guess I'll send my Kerbals to the freezing chamber. And then we'll start. I guess we'll actually start our trajectory towards the ton system. Oh, so the reason I fast forwarded was in here, we were at a part where we're gonna, if I start burning, we'd be going against our orbit and then run the risk of falling back into Kerbin. Or here, we're facing prograde with our orbit, so this would be safer to start burning here. So I guess let's start. And then now we're really just gonna continue burning until we get to our destination. Like basically we're just pointing directly at the star we're trying to get to, and then I'm just gonna keep burning and burning our engine until we were at a really crazy high speed. It's gonna take us through interstellar space. Is usually the goal of these interstellar vehicles. Well, I guess let's freeze our crew. Hey, all of our crew is frozen. So as we can start, I guess we can start time warping now. Goodbye, Goodbye, Kerbin. And that's our star system we're going to. And we're already on the escape trajectory, but eventually this is going to turn into a straight line as we get faster and faster. I think our target cruise speed is like gonna be somewhere in the neighborhood of around 3 million meters per second. Oh, and the music changed as we're getting even further away. And conveniently, our cruise speed is gonna be right as our first set of our main fuel tanks run out. Okay, now I've queued our interstellar playlist as we're officially leaving. We're leaving the Kerbal system now. Okay, I'm gonna turn off our main engine to if I leave it on during time warp, it'll basically just eat through the liquid helium and deuterium and deuterium fuel until it's all run out. And we need that fuel in addition to the fusion pellets for us to be able to use that engine. So I can't have that. So every time we're not burning, we gotta shut that thing off. Okay, now we'll lead us time warp, as we're basically just going to be sitting pretty until we actually reach our destination, as we dart through the vast emptiness of interstellar space. It's also very dark. Yeah, look at this. It's so dark out here. Like, you can hardly even see the spaceship is basically barely a silhouette against the background. And the only thing visible is the glowing radiators for the reactor. Yeah, I guess we'll see if we time warped too far to be able to slow down in time. Okay, our first set of fuel tanks has run out, so we'll jettison those. Okay, those were the tanks running into each other, not them running into our spaceship. Okay, looks like we might have overshot a little bit. Or not. Oh, looks like we did by a little bit. But that's okay. Okay, jettison those tanks. Okay, so guess we'll just set a course directly for Puff from here. And we might have to do a course adjustment. Okay, now we just wait for us to get to our ultimate destination. Okay, from here we're gonna may have to do a series of deceleration and course correction burns, because decelerating is also going to alter our course to the planet. Well, I think we can wait a little bit more. There's the planet. Oops. Looks like we're gonna pass it up, but that's okay. Okay, there it is. Hey, here we are, the planet Puff. I guess we'll unfreeze our Kerbals. Okay, I think we'll do a quick bit of science while we're in high orbit, and then we'll try to do some more in low orbit. Yeah, it looks like there weren't any customized science reports for this for this planet, or at least in space. So I think I'll probably cut out most of the science gathering. It's the only reason I leave it in the videos, so you can read, like, if there's unique science reports. But since there were none, I think I'll edit most of that out. Well, I was actually gonna do the dive or the descent and then the dive to Puff surface and into that ocean in this video, but I realized at this point I have a lot of footage to edit, so I think I'll end this video here. And then the second video, we will actually do the dive and the descent and everything. And then let them return home to Kerbin. So, thank you. This has been me, Dusty Circuit, here with another Kerbal Space Program episode. And if you liked what you saw, remember, leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you want to see more of these videos, and as well as my other videos, be sure to hit the bell for notifications. Peace out. Bye.